Okay, brought everything down. I ate. And we are right on time. Is that young Jakob that I saw? Young Jakob came online. I was like, is young Jakob in the lobby? He's casting a little TVZ. He's trying to learn over here. We're in the lobby, guys. Apparently game 1 is going to be played on Mothership. This will be a best of 7. They've gone a little extreme with the upper bracket, but it's a best of 7 on upper bracket, a final. The loser of this match will play against the winner of Hero versus Cure. That is going to be next. And let's have some fun. Alright, I'm back and they're starting. It's like they waited for me. I don't think that's the case, but it's probably, they have their own schedule over at the Chinese stream. But let's do it. Let's watch some high level TVZ. Neil Maple. I have been very impressed by Cure. Cure has been playing amazing Starcraft. But obviously I believe that Reynor can do it. If Reynor is in shape and if we believe Jay, he's very all in. Let's see if I can actually fix this camera. Is it different sizes? I didn't know that. Apparently it's different. The border should be the exact same. Doesn't look perfect, but it looks good enough for me. Let's have some fun. Kung Fu Cup. We've been watching it the last 3 days. This is day number 4. I want to take a look at the RSL results as well. But we'll watch game 1 first together.
Let's get it on.
Top right side. Once more on Mothership. I've casted this man more on Mothership than anybody else, I feel like. It is Team Liquid's Cure. 3-player map. Top left side, we're looking at the main base of our Italian stallion, BASILISK Reynor. Even if there isn't a crazy amount of money on the line, it always feels good to win a tournament, especially a tournament that's spread over multiple days. So I'd really love to see Reynor win this, just to give himself some confidence and momentum for the upcoming RSL season. We love you. I love you too, matey. And I have seen the medium Yakov account. Saw Gabe play a couple games against young Jakob, and young Jakob was really holding his own. He was playing sick. Nothing gimmicky, nothing cheesy, just pretty fair, honest, straight up macro games. According to Gabe, he was very greedy, but, you know, everybody is a little greedy toward, according to Gabe. Happy Saturday to you as well, matey. 5 Protoss. So RSL is going to turn into a weekly cup. With a whole lot of green in the playoffs. Gives me a playoffs to get excited over and look forward to, but probably not very good for the tournament. Curious SUV is going to show up at a very nice moment. That's actually going to block Reynor's drone from morphing into an expand. That's a bit unfortunate. Hello, Phaser. Thank you so much, matey, for 46 months. SCV is still there. Drone could obviously battle the SCV for a little while, but that's a fight that goes on for a long time. By the time that fight is almost over, I'm sure Reynor is expecting this Reaper of Cure to show up, and I can't blame him for that. MaxPax playing RSL is obviously very cool, because I always love seeing Max play important games, and since the prize pool is pretty freaking big. I do kind of wonder though, since the winner of RSL Season 3 qualifies for the offline event in Korea, like, I do feel that Max has an obligation. I'm completely okay with MaxPax not going to offline events. Like, if that is his wish, if that is what his family wants, I don't know what the deal is, but I respect that. I can live with that. But then I do think it's a bit questionable to play in an event where the winner qualifies for an offline event. And obviously you can say, like, well, it's hard to win it. Sure, it's hard to win it, but he's actually good enough to win it. And it'd be very weird if he wins the entire thing and then he forfeits and then the runner-up goes. Because then I feel like you have a bit of an impact on an offline event. And I feel like that's not totally right. So I wonder what the deal is there. Now, of course, if he doesn't win it, you don't have to worry about it. But, well, I mean, Max is amazing. I will never doubt his skill. And I will never say that he shouldn't play in anything because he's not good enough. He's good enough for everything. I just hope that he plays with the intention of... I would find it very surprising if he suddenly goes to Korea. Like, if his first ever event is a Korean event, like, that would be a bit of a shocker to me, but... Hey, more power to him if he does go. That would make me incredibly happy. I just hope that he plays with the intention of going. I'd be happy. I think it'd be very exciting for Starcraft. I really think it would draw a lot of eyeballs too. There are literally thousands of Starcraft fans over the world that have been following MaxPax's journey across the last 5 years, and a lot of people root for him and cheer for him every single day and just hope that he makes it to an offline event once. And I also generally believe that he would have a ton of fun. One way or the other, I think he would have a great time. So I hope that there is at least a tiny chance, and he's not just playing to win a couple buckies and then have no intentions to go to the offline event. Reynor has a couple of links active in the center of the map, and he grabs 2 Hellions. We'll take that. We're rooting for Reynor. We'll absolutely take that. Especially since Cure had 6 extra Hellions. There's no armory, but he did have a lot of extra Hellions, so losing 2 of them like that is a bit painful for Cure. He's going to lose another one. Liberator, I believe, is in the main base. Yeah, not getting much. Sure, I mean, it's up to them, but I assume that if you're running a tournament that has an offline final, that you confirm with your players that, hey, if you win, we expect you to go to the offline final. That's pretty normal, no? At least if I would run an event with an offline finals, I would confirm with the players that anybody who plays is considering going. And if it then doesn't work out for whatever reason, like that can always happen, right? That has happened many times in history. Reynor's got Hive on the way, 6 minutes and 30 seconds in, it's double Evo. Lost like 1 drone so far in this game. 0! A single Zergling and a single Overlord. The definition of locked up. We killed 3 Hellions. And now we lost 3 links, but before that we lost 0. Now we do end up losing our first drone to this Liberator. That's still around, continues to be annoying. Honestly feels that if Reynor is able to get Hive Tech online and he's going to be able to get Adrenal Glands, maybe some Ultras out, he's going to be able to be incredibly feisty on the other side of the map, because he's gonna be in a very sweet, strong position, way quicker than he normally would be. Saves his queen as well, and Reynor is playing super sharp. Cure not finding anything. Now Cure is of course playing triple CC, and he's got 69 SCV, so it's not necessarily the end of the world immediately. But most of the time when a Zerg does this many things that all lead into a very strong Hive Tech timing, a very strong entrance into the late game, it's super difficult for a Terran, because at best you're gonna have either Ghost or a bunch of Lips, but you'll never really have both. And if you don't have both, it's gonna be difficult to deal with Hive Tech Zerg. Tanks can buy some time, but obviously Hive Tech Zerg has access to Vipers. Blinding Clouds are good. Abducts are even better, but I know that's not a thing right now. And for anybody who missed it, you can no longer abduct tanks. It's a bit of an odd balance change. It's not that I think it's like game breaking when it comes to the balance, like, oh no, there's nothing Zerg can do. It's just, you know, lore wise, logic wise, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Here's gonna get Drilling Claws. Drilling Claws great against Lings and Banes, but that's really not gonna make the difference against Ultras. And the Ultralisk Cavern is done. So it's a bit of a traditional TVZ, as in a lot of poking, but no real commitments. Yeah, Reynor is okay with it. Reynor has played very greedy. He's got a great economy. And Adrenal Glands 70% done. A couple of Marines here are not going to get much done either. I'm surprised that Cure thinks he can play a game like this and it's going to be okay. And I would love to be wrong, guys. I would love to see Cure be okay. And just defend wave after wave of Zerg aggression. But once Kindness Plating is done, once the first Vipers show up with energy, I really don't think it's going to be that easy. Yeah. I agree with you. Visually, this is a bit odd, mate. This is just a see-through floor. Think of one of these fancy bridges between two very tall buildings. Somebody is lagging, by the way, and I hope it's not me. I don't think it's me. So, it's a see-through floor. It's not airspace. There is a floor. Reynor is setting up a really big surround. He is going to lose the queen. He's going to lose a couple drones, but he's got a lot of units coming in from the top right side because Bane is coming in from the left, and Cura is going to get absolutely massacred here. Saves a couple units, but what a fight by Reynor. And obviously it's been leading up to this point for the first 8 minutes since Cura just did not find anything. Reynor could potentially go for the planetary. He's going to split up a bunch of links. Some of them will try to go into the natural. The other one's going to run into the third base. Cura is going to take damage here. The only question is how much. And he's going to lose that 5th command center as well. He does not cancel it. 400 minerals down the drain. It's just all Reynor in game 1, guys. It really is all Reynor in game 1. Reynor should be able to get the planetary here. Uses a blinding cloud. Banelings are going to get almost all the SCVs. Cura might be able to save a few of them. Nope. Does not bother. This game is just over. If a Zerg plays as greedy and as economic and attacks as quickly as Reynor did in this game, as a Terran, it is mandatory you find damage. It is mandatory you slow him down. Cura wasn't able to do any of that. And yeah, he had a big army, but Reynor's army was just better. It was technologically, for some reason I cannot speak, a lot more advanced. It was more powerful. Cura is still going to try to make something happen with his final bio units, but I am really not worried for Reynor in the slightest. Reynor is continuing to find damage with some leftover links on the right side of the map. Yeah, this went from a 0 to 100 real quick in favor of Reynor. Cura lost 3 Hellions for a single Zergling. That's obviously a straight up disaster. That's not something that should ever happen. That is something that shouldn't be possible. Reynor played mega economic, mega focused on the late game. Yeah, that was a domination. Do I have domination?
Domination.
Reynor looked pretty untouchable. And clearly Cura is going to have to switch it up a little bit. Like, we're going to either have to just find a lot more with maybe Marine Tank in the mid game if Reynor goes hive that quickly. Or we just need to find ways to slow Reynor down a little bit with better Hellion movement. Instead of a Liberator, maybe we can go Banshees and we can slow him down. So, this was not it. I am not part of the party, by the way, so I hope they don't forget me. Good news is that we can join through Reynor. There we go. So while we wait for game 2, I want to take a tiny look at RSL, because I did not see any of the games. I'm not familiar with the results. Okay. Oh, seems like a bit of a one-sided day so far in RSL. Hopefully the final series I can see go all 3 games. Even if they've played before. Oh. You missed a few streams. Why has Vicky banished me to the cupboard under the stairs? I'm not under the stairs. That's the roof. There is no stairs here. Vicky banished me because he was sick and tired of my shit. He said if I have to hear one more thing about Zerglings, Zealots, Phoenixes or Banelings or a barcode, I'm leaving you. And to prevent that scenario, she sent me to the attic. No, it was my own choice. I have the feeling that we can do something nice here and it can eventually become very, very nice. Very comfortable, cozy. Right now it obviously doesn't look very pretty. But nothing would look pretty because I'm using my Logitech Brio. And the options are incredibly limited with the Logitech Brio. With Reynor playing both RSL and KFC tomorrow, seems a bit tight. The grand final should start later, so I think he would work that. They would work that out. And obviously, RSL is bigger. RSL is more important. So Reynor will always play in RSL first. And if he would somehow show up late for the grand finals, it is what it is, right? Downstairs was really cozy. I mean, it looked cool because of the lights, and it looked cool because of the camera. I have neither of those things right now, so you can't really compare it. I think eventually this should look better. If there is a tiny designer somewhere hidden inside of me, this should look better. But it's unfair to compare it right now. Exactly, I can move all the lights. I mean, I don't have the spotlights that I had in the ceiling, but the thing is, those were nice for streaming, but those were actually very uncomfortable for any single moment that you were in streaming. So if you're having dinner or friends over, They were really not that chill. And a living room is kind of supposed to be used for living, right? Not necessarily as a place to play video games from. The goal is just give it some time, guys. And with some time, I mean a lot of time. Why do I have Gabe on my wall? I feel everyone should have Gabe on their wall. I feel like there should be a law here, similar to what they have in North Korea, you know, where everybody needs to have a perfectly clean picture of Kim Jong-un on their wall. I should have everyone in the Netherlands or Western Europe should have a perfectly clean picture of Gabe on their wall. And no dust. If there is any dust covering Gabe, you're in trouble. You have a PC in the living room? Yeah, I mean, if I was living alone, guys, then I would probably keep it downstairs, because there are some things that are nice about being downstairs, but I don't live alone, and if you don't live alone, then it's just kind of bad in general to have the setup in the living room, because that also means that you can't really ever receive any guests. Like, my mom can't stop by, my dad can't stop by without being on camera if I'm streaming, and I'm pretty much always streaming, so it just wasn't that optimal.
Round 2, fight!
Bottom right side of Taito's Citadel. This is a very defensive map, if you ask me. I don't hate this map, but I find it not that enjoyable. But that's because I like to play aggressive and I like to trade. And this is not a good map to find a lot of trades if people are just chilling on 3 bases. But let's see how it goes between these two. This man knows he's going to have to find ways to slow his opponent down. Otherwise, this is going to be a very short and incredibly rough best of 7. This is Cure. Top left side. It is our boy, looking really good so far in this Kung Fu Cup November monthly finals. BASILISK Reynor. 1-0 up in the upper bracket final. Working on his illegal leg stonks. They're going up. I would not recommend shorting that. Short a lot of people, but don't short my boy. Are those cards in the background? Yes, I have a lot of cards on the shelf behind me. Actually, if I move, you can see that it's not all cards. It's a mixture between F1 model cars, C-A-R-S, and Pokemon cards. And then obviously the statues on top. I don't have the carrier statue on top right now because it's too tall. And this camera has like too zoomed in. So if I put it, you will only see the base, you won't actually see the carrier. It's really funny, the guy who was helping out with the boiler. He looked like kind of a strong, tough dude. I don't know how old he is. Let's say he's in his 30s. But he never ever struck me as a guy that knew anything about Pokemon cards whatsoever. And he like peeks to the side and he's like, oh, did you grade any of them? And I'm like, what? Well, he's talking to Vicky about it. He's like, you should grade them, man. You might have a PSA 10. Hello, Craft Theory. Yes, I believe his name is Dennis. How do you know? Yeah, I believe that's what my mom said, because my mom knows his name. But yeah, the guy who's helping us fix the boiler is like, did you grade any of them? Maybe you have a PSA 10? I'm like, what is happening over here? This is not the conversation that I expected to hear about. Super nice guy. Ooh, close call here on the Reaper of Cure. Watching the stream when you talked about it? I don't think I ever mentioned his name, because I think before yesterday I didn't even know his name, but my mom said that he also helped my mom with her air conditioning unit. And apparently he lives very close to my mom, because he's a big fan. So he graded them and he sold them, Philharmonic? Is that what you're telling me? I have the feeling that a couple of my old cards, despite the fact that I did not take care of them the way that I should have taken care of them, for any of the big card fans out there. When I was a kid, I had a binder, but I just like put one in the front, one in the back, no sleeves. I know, that's blasphemy, but I didn't know any better. Okay, I was like 10 or 11 when I got some of them. But honestly, they held up very well. There is like no whitening on the back. I really don't see many scratches at the front. I'm sure that none of those cards would ever get a 10, but I think for, you know, how old they are, they're actually in pretty good condition. 800 bugs. He got Zerg cards over here. That's sick. I mean, Cure got something done with the Reaper, but it's just a couple of Zerglings in the end. Obviously, it's nice to keep your opponent busy, because the more active... Like, there's a lot of things that you don't really see when you're watching a game of Starcraft. But the more active that Cure is with his Reaper, the more likely it is that Reynor is a split second later with firing up some drones that he should have fired up. That he's a little bit later with maybe dropping a creep tumor. So it all adds up. But it's not great damage, because it's just a few Zerglings in the end. You'll take it. 5 links for a Reaper is obviously not bad. But you much rather get 2 drones or force a whole bunch of units to morph into spores. Snipe a creep tumor. Those things I would say are more significant. Yeah, getting a few links is nice. I would invest in the Zerg dollar right now if I could, mate. I would have a lot more faith in the Zerg dollar than I have in the Terran dollar or the Protoss dollar. As long as the big boys are playing. As you guys can see, Cure's got a 3rd and 4th refinery very early on, and that often leads into one thing and one thing only, and that is additional factories. And we're gonna play some mech. We've gone with Banshees, Hyperflight Rotas, Mega quick Banshees, no cloak, but they're gonna be very, very quick. Reynor historically, I would say, has been weaker versus mech than he has been versus bio. Obviously, Gumio hurt our boy a couple of times in very big moments in his career. And Cure is going to try his luck with mech as well. I do think that Gumi's got a lot more experience with it than Cure, but Cure is obviously capable of playing pretty much anything at the highest level. Does Reynor? No. I feel like Reynor... Maybe the fact that he now sees the pace of these Banshees. There's also a little graphical animation for some people who may not be aware of it, but obviously you see that they're very quick, but you also see that there is something coming out of their engines. And that is the indicator that they do have Hyperflight Rotas. It doesn't do anything other than make them very, very quick. Speed is everything. Reynor's got double Evo on the way and he has dropped the Spire, so we're going to play some Muda Ling Bane. Economy is looking alright. Saying we're not quite as... I mean, plus 20 drones obviously good. Love the Hellions gonna morph into Hellbats. Reynor is gonna morph some Banelings, but the Banelings are not done yet, which means that these Hellbats should be able to get on top of drones, and they absolutely will get on top of drones. And this is already more economic damage than Cure found in the entirety of the previous game. That a 20 work elite is going to disappear. Cure should split the Hellbats a little bit. I think we could have done that slightly better. But Cure might already be pretty happy. Reynor is setting up a Zergling run by, but Hellbats keeping the natural safe. There is some damage to be found though for the Lings over here at the 3rd. That was strong for Cure. Cure already playing a better and more competitive game. Now I do wonder, guys, is Cure going to be ready for the Mudas? He should be. In my eyes, he should be. This is a moment where I think any Terran should immediately build turret, every mineral line, and maybe like a turret over here in the middle. Just to make it a bit harder for these Mudas to pick off stray units. We don't have a Thor. Did we lose both Banshees? Yes, we did. The Banshees didn't do too much, but the Hellions were amazing. Get some turrets, mate. Why are we not getting any turrets? I know Cyclones are goated and all. I don't like this move out, guys, because we need these Cyclones at home to deal with the Mutalisk. And now you're going to end up losing both of them. Lings are way quicker. I don't like this at all. Cure just threw away a lot. And now these turrets are going to be a lot later than they should be. Muta count is only 9, so... Perhaps a few Cyclones is going to be good enough to buy some time. Hello, Air. Yeah, and he is going to get a turret in every mineral line and indeed a single turret in the center. Alright. Reynor dropping 2 hatcheries at once. Trying to skyrocket up to 6 bases. This could become a very fun game. Since both of them are rich, both of them should be able to produce a pretty sick army. We have Baneling speed? Yes, we do. A game with a lot of potential. Hello, Tobias. Happy Saturday, mate. Command center flying over, units just left, but you need to be so careful because these Cyclone lock-ons, they really hurt. They're gonna melt Mutas quickly. Ooh, Reynor did not move them back. That is at least -1. He does have a lot of links here. And at the same time, has a big old Baneling run by over here in the third. Killed 14 SCVs. 14 is nice, obviously not game ending, but that is nice. Yeah, Cura's actually lost more bases so far. Or more resources so far than Reynor. It is very surprising to me. Alex Bully, was it 52 minutes or something? Or it was way past 40. Legendary PvP. The little dance with the Archons and the Colossus over here in the top right side. Yeah, that was a sick game. Aliens driving into the triangle base, but Reynor Mutas are at home, so we're gonna deal with it. Did end up losing 3 drones. How many? What's the Widowmine count? I'm getting very thrown off by these lag spikes, but it's not me. But this is a pretty populated lobby with a lot of different users from different regions, and then there's always going to be some lag. There's a good Widowmine shot on the Mutas, but now all the Widowmines have fired. The Cyclone's a bit out of position. Reynor needs to be careful here. I can only imagine that some of these mines are going to be big. Actually not that big, and a lot of the Banelings made it in deep. Reynor casually kills the Orbital. And 22 SCVs, hey. Well, that was a very successful attack. I bet that Cure never thought that would be possible. With Blue Flame Hellions, so many Widowmines with Drilling Claws, lots of Cyclones with mech, Field Accelerator, like I can't really blame Cure for thinking that he was safe there. Still a very strong army though that Cure has over here. Reynor setting up either a surround or a counter. He's going for the surround. He's going to come in from the right side and the left. Widowmines are in the mix. It's always very difficult to predict how these Widowmine shots are going to do, but the link trap is fantastic. So Reynor gets a lot of these expensive Cyclones. And it's a lot easier for Reynor to replace a lot of the Links, Banes and Mutas than it is for Cure to rebuild 12 Cyclones. Reynor doing a good job at first against the mines. Continues to do a good job. Are there more mines there? No, those are all Cyclones. For a split second, I thought there were a couple of Widowmines there that were about to blow up all the Mutas. Reynor is really sending it, but he can't go too deep against the missile turrets. I mean, they're both losing a lot. There's a couple of mines left over. I hope Reynor is aware of that. We are morphing an Overseer. It's actually going to be a bit annoying for Reynor that I think by the time that he's got detection here, the army of Cure is here once more. Cure splitting off a couple of Hellions. Fun game. Battle Mech is just a million times more enjoyable than the Turtle Mech stuff. One mine was ready to fire, the other one kind of wasn't. Barely wasn't. Still minus 500 resources in favor of Reynor. That's incredibly rare. It's rare in this matchup. It's even more rare against mech. Just goes to show that Reynor has truly found some fantastic angles to engage from. And obviously had a few good run-bys. And that is shockingly cost efficient. Shouldn't be this extreme. Reynor is gonna make a play for the planetary. We've got plenty of Banes in the mix. The SCVs are leaving town immediately. Cure knows that his base is kind of dead. That's a good Widowmine shot there. That's a lot of Banelings. What's happening over here at the third? The Zerglings trying to run in. Lots of low HP SCVs. How many gases Reynor has? 9. Yeah, that should be perfectly fine. Yeah, the lag spikes are not just scaring me, but they're also just uncomfortable and annoying. They make it a little bit harder to provide proper commentary, but it is what it is. Online live Starcraft is not always going to be perfect. Ooh, couple big Widowmine shots here perhaps. Reynor in a tiny bit of trouble right now. Reynor just lost a lot. He's got a lot of extra Lings and Banes finishing up. Some of these Widowmines could burrow and fire. They will burrow, but they won't fire. And in the end, Reynor will get everything on creep with enough Banelings. It is good enough after all that economic damage. Just like that, 14 minutes in, 2-0 for Reynor. I gotta say, he's playing really good. The Reynor is just looking fast, sharp, He's finding crazy good trades. Like in a similar game to this, if the Zerg has lost, let's say 4,000 or 5,000 resources more at minute 12, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine, that's acceptable. You need to be a little bit crazy and reckless. Like, it's not always going to be easy to find perfect fights. And Reynor just finds perfect trades. Average APM. I keep on telling you guys, and I'm not doing this to be a Debbie Downer, but the APM numbers, they really don't mean anything. Because of the way that Starcraft 2 records APM with rapid fire and low repeat rates. Like, even your Gold League player can easily end up with 700 APM on a lot of moments, and they're doing nothing. Nothing that's useful, nothing that's relevant. Because the combination of certain things just like makes everything repeat incredibly quick. I wish that we could play StarCraft without rapid fire. That would also help me, since I don't use rapid fire. And that would also mean that maybe the APM numbers become slightly more relevant again. I watched the EWC documentary, and I know it's very easy to hate, but for the fact that they used non-StarCraft people at all, I don't think what they said was necessarily wrong. Like, of course, it's probably just a script, maybe like a lot of help was provided from somebody else, but the things that were said in that documentary in regards to RTS, I don't think it was wrong. It's too easy to say like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about, because I felt that whoever helped the lady with the script did a good job. Or if she knows all of that herself, then she's a bit of an expert. But it wasn't that bad. I'll be glad to know that Brood War doesn't have rapid fire. I'm very glad. Bottom right side of 10,000 feet. He's sending out the boys. He's had enough of this best of 7 so far. Perhaps he feels like it is just not going to be his day. Representing Team Liquid, it is Cure. Top left side of 10,000 feet. Can we just call this map 10k instead of 10,000 feet? I think that's better. From here on out, guys, we refer to this map as 10k and 10k only. This is BASILISK Reynor. He's up too. He's flying another boy. Oh my. Okay. Not 1, not 2, but 3 wrecks. I believe Cure also did this against Serral on Andromeda during the Crank Team League. And Serral's response was, I'm just gonna let that hatchery die. I'm gonna take double gas, and I'm gonna get a couple of roaches and ravages. Let's see how Reynor decides to deal with it. Let's see if Reynor scouts it at all. We're gonna follow Reynor's camera for a little bit. So far, speed running. I was worried today that I'd be running out of time. Now 38 minutes in. I'm worried that we're gonna finish too quick, and I don't have any content. Hello, Wingant. So far, you just missed Reynor playing incredibly good. Reynor now sees the SCVs. What will Reynor do? Reynor is also going to take a second gas and is also going to drop the Roach Warren. So it seems like he has the exact same response as Serral had in the Crank Team League when Cure used this build on Andromeda. But that's a game, even if it went in Serral's favor towards the end, I felt like there were 1 or 2 moments that were actually kind of close, where I was like, maybe if Cure would have saved this one SCV and he would have been able to repair the bunker, this could have actually been fine. Now, Reynor is going to pull everything, despite the fact he feels that Cure has gone too deep to chase those 2 Zerglings, but there is a lot of firepower in these Marines. This is a very, very risky move. It might pay off in a very big way, but it also might backfire, and then it's going to be a disaster. Reynor gets 2 out of the 3 SCVs. 1 SCV is in the bunker, so it can still be used to repair. This is a crazy play by Reynor. I did not expect it. Gets the surround on all those Marines in the end. That was every single drone, though. He shuts it down. He's down to 12 drones. 12 drones is not a lot of drones. I'm incredibly surprised, guys, since Reynor basically said, like, I'm just gonna let this hatchery die. I'm gonna go for a second gas. I'm gonna go for a Roach Warren. But then in the middle of it, he changed his mind and he grabbed every single drone. Perhaps because he saw how deep those Marines were. And he thought those Marines can never make it back in time to the bunker. Now, I don't know if it worked out. Those are a lot of boys, oh my. There was a refinery. Cure is also changing his mind. Cure is also gonna go in and he's gonna run the SCVs through. He's gonna try to trap the roaches. He's gonna try to trap the queen. There is energy for one transfuse. Reynor could use it. It is roaches and drones against a lot of marines and SCVs. Now all the SCVs have died so far. Reynor is gonna lose a few more workers and he already had no economy. Neither of them having more than 10 workers out on the moment. Reynor is microing his final 2 roaches, but they both die as well. Now he's gonna end up losing even more drones. Might lose another one. Cure scans the main and leaves. Cure scans the main and leaves. I don't think that is Reynor is about to become, I think there is one more drone going down here. This drone has 4 HP. He had no econ. Reynor has 7 drones. 4 SCVs and a mule is 1,000,000 times better than 7 drones. Cure has more income. 100% Cure has more income. Now, of course, he is gonna build marines into roaches and queens. But 4 SCVs with an orbital is way better than 7 drones. It's 1,000,000 times better. It is 1,000,000 times better. Mate, different levels to this game. That's like comparing a Dota caster to a Starcraft 2 caster. It's a bit better. It's like 7 times better. I believe, according to very reliable sources of Fox News, that 1 mule equals 22 drones. Even with 2 hatcheries, absolutely. You can have 17 hatcheries. If you have 7 drones, you've got no income. I find that a bit silly. Because I believe that Cure has the economy there to show up with, let's say, 10 marines in no time. And Reynor is not going to have a lot. It's at least 30 drones. I mean, Fox News played it safe and they said 22 drones equals 1 mule. I'm going to trust Fox News on this one. I would have liked to see Cure at least build up 6 more marines and then go again. Maybe the scan is also crazy, of course, because we have 1 orbital, we have no SCVs. Maybe he wanted to scan because he thought he was dead, and then he scanned and he realized maybe he wasn't dead, but because of the scan he feels like he's dead because now he doesn't have a mule. Yeah, that's crazy. Instead of dropping that scan, if we just drop a mule and we pump out 6 more marines, I would really like to see how that game plays out. I mean, we can always resume it from replay. I can also just ask Reynor. Pulling the boys seemed like a bad call in general. He did lose a lot of them before he got anything. So I am with you on that one. But then he also started killing a few more drones. And he did get those 2 very low HP roaches. I don't know. I find it crazy that you would leave there. Now maybe after the scan you do have to leave. Because obviously he needs the mule. But how about instead of scanning, we drop a mule. And we go up to 6, 8 marines and we go again. Yeah. Oh well. That too. Because Reynor, he did pull off obviously a good defense and he kept the hatchery alive. But by pulling all those drones to the low ground, Reynor dropped to initially 12 drones, I believe it was. And Cure indeed was at like 17 or 18 SCVs. Now, he doesn't have a lot at home. He doesn't have an easy transition. And maybe as long as Reynor is on 2 hatcheries, he's in trouble. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, that scan into leave was questionable. We could have at least dropped the mule. Maybe pull the boys one more time. And then just attack with like 8 or 10 marines. Top left side, upper bracket final of the Kung Fu Cup November finals. He's down 0-3. And even pulling the boys and proxying a couple Rexes did not work. In his team, Liquid's Cure. Yeah, perhaps what happened there, as we do a quick intro, bottom right side, of course, representing Basilisk, the Italian stallion, it is Reynor. Since this game was bizarre for many reasons, Reynor goes for the I'm gonna sacrifice my hatchery defense with a second gas and a roach warren into just kidding, I'm pulling all the drones to the low ground. Perhaps in Cure his mind, that was not every single drone. In Cure his mind, it was probably like Reynor left 4 or 5 drones behind in the main. And he is mining a lot more than what he gave him credit for. Because obviously Reynor's response is pretty crazy. He's wasting 2 drones on a defense that he then in the end does not decide to go for. So yeah, perhaps Cure misread the economic state of that game quite a bit. And he killed a decent amount of drones, but all that Cure saw is that a bunch of drones were left over and started mining from the natural immediately. But that was not a bunch of drones with some drones behind in the main. That was every single drone that Reynor had. Eventually, Reynor got one drone in the main, but for a pretty long time there were 0 drones in the main. And I don't think that Cure ever thought that Reynor had literally 0 drones in his main. And that probably added a little bit to the confusion, and then eventually the scan of how dead am I? And then he saw one drone and he's like, well, maybe if I didn't scan. One Mew is how many drones? Not 22. It's approximately 22. At least according to Fox News. No, it's not 22. But it can absolutely equal at least 4, if not 5 workers. So 4 SCVs and mules is definitely better than 7 drones, especially if those 7 drones will be forced to fight again if 6 Marines show up. Because if those Marines get on top of the Queen or make their way into the middle lane immediately, the drones are going to have to fight. Cure definitely had a better economy. Of course, it was not a million times better. I am aware of that. But it was better. Oh well. Gave us something to talk about. The first time in the best of 7, Cure is going for the bread and butter Hellions and Banshees with a 3rd CC. Reynor dropping a Roach Warren 4 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. I wonder if that's because he might be expecting the Stim Hellbat push. That is definitely gaining popularity among the Korean Terrans. Maybe Reynor just wants to do something else. We'll keep an eye on it. It is worth mentioning that this is Reynor's deepest Overlord. So he does not have an Overlord very close to the natural. He does not have an Overlord awfully close to the main base. He's not going to sack it. I want to say he's playing blind. But he's somewhat blind. Five-minute double eBay. This could lead into a Cure versus Reynor Classic. And that is just 3 base, 8 racks, 2-2. We never build a 4th. We never build additional SCVs. And we get 140 supply of Marine tank. And eventually some Liberators. It was nice for Cure that he actually found 2 drones very early on with a Banshee. Of course, the earlier we find this drone damage, the better it is for the Terran. Killing 5 drones of 70 drones is a lot less impactful than killing 2 drones of 30. The snowball effect is real for a little while. But it's not necessarily game-ending damage on the side of Reynor, so he should be fine. I do wonder if he's unhappy with the roaches that he built. I mean, he's obviously going to need something to deal with these Hellions. Maybe he built them a little earlier than he would have liked to. A bit of a Yona build here. A couple of safety roaches into a 6-minute and 30-second hive. Hellions get in range, gun down 2 drones. Obviously Cure is trying to keep up the activity, hoping to find an opening. If Reynor is sleeping on the job, he'd find more. Well, Reynor is locked in today. He's playing well. We're gonna get a 2nd factory. And I expect just 3 more barracks, no 4th CC. Unless maybe there's something that Cure truly loves about the late game here, but 8 racks, 3 base, double factory. And we keep on sending it. Because that Raven will significantly slow down the medevac production. Like 1 Raven, it may not seem like it takes up that much time, but it really does take up that much time. And if the first 2 medevacs come out so much later, then you won't have the map presence with the Marines. Like, if building a Raven was good, the Terrans would do it. But the problem is that 2 Banshees and a Raven, they cannot really slow down creep the way that Stimmed Bio can. Because Stimmed Bio can actually battle queens if it's just queens. But if it's 5 queens, 2 Banshees and a Raven cannot battle those queens. So you don't get any way to contain the Zerg or to keep the creep spread at bay. We do have a 4th command center, by the way, on the side of Cure. He's also adding in those 3 extra Rexes. His upgrades look good, but since Reynor had a 6-minute 30-second hive, at least that's when he started upgrading that lair. Just cancelling a base here, I don't think it's going to be good enough, because there's going to be a very painful moment where, again, we have to fight Zerglings with Adrenal Glands, maybe a couple of Ultras with Guidance Plating. And if we just have Marines and tanks, it's going to be so freaking hard. I do believe there are some games and some moments where having a Raven is useful. In particular, I would say if you face some sort of a proxy hatch opening, you know, that started spreading a whole bunch of creep. There's so much lag, man. Is it now me? Like, is it just Battle.net? Oh. I was ready to leave. I was ready to press the button and disconnect. And then it was Pommy. I was like, I'll just watch somebody else's stream. Reynor ready, Cure ready. It is match point. If Reynor wins this game, he guarantees himself a top 2 finish in this minor online cup. But that was incredibly stacked and was spread out over this entire week. It's been fun though. Just a couple games. No marathon streams. Just a few short series. And most of them were very good. Yesterday was a bit of a nothing burger. But every other day was awesome. Reynor setting up the surround on the army on the right. At the same time, Cure should be able to find some success here on the left. But this is Reynor's focus. Now, I gotta say, that was not the best start of the fight for Reynor. It seemed like the top part of his army was a little ahead of the bottom. So we didn't really get a perfectly synced attack. In the end, though, Reynor is gonna clean things up. And he actually has an answer for these units as well. I didn't even know that he had that many units here. Widowmine is not going to fire. Queens could be in a tiny bit of trouble. A lot of queens here, very low on HP, low on energy at this point. Reynor floating some money. I don't know if he completely forgot to build the Ultra Cavern or if it was part of the plan. They would just defend with Roach Ravager, Link Bane, Adrenal Glands, and then go Ultra. But, Reynor could be in some trouble here, guys. Cure is going to find more good Widowmine shots, gets another hatchery. And let's not forget that he just gunned down at least a couple queens. I don't love these fights for Reynor. Nowhere near as much as I love some of the other fights. Could have something to do with the 2-2 upgrades that have been done for Cure for a little while. Bio being ahead in upgrades is obviously what the Terran is always looking for. Seems like we ran out of scans. Cure is playing good this game. Reynor with just a few errors that we did not see of him in the previous ones. Was maybe sitting on a tiny bit too much money. Took a few bigger Widowmine shots to the face than before. This surround was a tiny bit out of sync. Top part just showed up way before the bottom. Reynor should be able to keep this hatchery alive. There's one more Widowmine that could fire, will fire, kills the Overseer as well. Does Reynor have an answer for this army? Doesn't look like it at first. Cure definitely playing his best game of the series so far. Can he find one more queen? Yes, he does. Yeah, this is looking good. Killed 7 queens and a hatchery now and is awfully close to maybe getting this one too. When Reynor gets his ultras out, wow, 4 Vipers. Okay, I always love early Vipers. 4 is a little excessive. I'm gonna be able to spam Parabomb and Blinding Clouds for days. Reynor, his Vipers are actually a bit out of position. That'd be a lot more useful, I think, here towards the top right side. This is a much smaller army. This is an army that has really been the bane of his existence for a little while, so perhaps that's why he really just wants to shut it down. And a few ultras, be brave and good enough. Guidance plating is now done. Not in time to save the hatch. Parabomb! Yeah, if you have 4 Vipers, guys, you may as well drop 4 Parabombs on all 4 medevacs. And somehow Reynor only kills 1. I don't think that Reynor can clean up this army now, but I'm afraid it's just a little bit too late. Reynor needs to re-establish new bases. Not being able to get his hands on that 7 o'clock base and losing this base at 3 o'clock over and over again is really going to make life incredibly hard. I love that Cure is now starting to add in some Liberators. I'd love to see a second starport, and that's exactly what he's going to do. A third starport even. With a fusion core. Yeah, very strong game by Cure. When you see a game like this, you almost wish that he would have played at this level throughout the entire series. We would have had a turbo banger. Reynor not out of it yet. Reynor still has money in the bank. Reynor still has some gas, but Reynor is not in a position that he can take a bad fight. And the biggest problem for Reynor is that he lost so many queens. We don't have a great answer for the Liberators. What do we have? 3 Ravagers. Yeah, that's 3 Ravagers, 4 queens, 4 Vipers. I mean, he's got money to drop a Spire. I would honestly love to see him drop a Spire here. Hello, Jeremy. Reynor has played mega good so far today, but this game we are just in a bit of a pickle. Good job by Cure there with the pre-spread. Bomber would be very proud. Reynor does use that Viper energy, drops a couple parabombs, and the Ultras are gonna shoot their way through the bio units. So this is definitely a very good fight for Reynor, but Cure should have a lot more. Also just spent money on 4 freaking command centers. 4! That was a bit expensive though by Cure. Maybe Cure overstayed his welcome a little. Perhaps he thought he would always be safe. Off creep with a bunch of Widow Mines already burrowed. Cure had no vision. Cure had to scan, guys, to kill the drones here. That's kind of funny. Does get a bunch of them in the end, and Reynor will take care of it with the Spore. Fun game. Overall, it's been a pretty enjoyable series. Like, yes, it might be a one-sided one, but it's a lot more enjoyable than yesterday. Yesterday, unfortunately, just wasn't quite it. First days of Kung Fu Cup were awesome, though. Reynor's gonna have a very tough time if Cure makes it to the other side of the map with a bunch of Liberators. Because dealing with 1 or 2 Lips is doable, but if it's like 6 or 7, no pun intended, I know I said it, I didn't mean it. That's just where it becomes really hard. Good run by here though by Reynor, creating a bit of chaos, pulling the army back. Some leftover Zergling still, having a good time here. 44 Lings on the production tab as well. Hello? Cure is really struggling, guys. Not many. Did Cure think that all the Lings died or something? Sweet baby Jesus, Cure. Lost a little more there than I think he was supposed to lose. Now the fusion core finished up. We do have advanced ballistics. We're gonna try once more. Big scan, very very big scan for Cure, because that could have been bad. And there are a couple lag spikes, which is annoying. Liberator count 4. All the Widow Mines on top of each other makes a man dream. A fungal, couple banelings. Reynor sets up another run by on the other side of the map. Cure obviously struggled with the previous one, and there was no fight. Now he's gonna have to deal with it when there is a fight. Ultra count is quite high. The Liberators are gonna get a lot of shots off. I think it's the Lips that might make the difference here in the end. Man, that's a lot of power bumps. Not too many bio units left over, but Liberators are massive. Reynor does not want to lose his base, but I don't think he's got much of a choice. He's at least going to try to evacuate and save a lot of the drones. 6 more Ultras. We're going from 2 all the way up to 8. And now that Spire is done, so we can add in a few Corruptors. I actually think Reynor saves this base. If he starts this fight with 4 Corruptors, I think Reynor saves that base. Because he was doing quite good on the ground. We had no way to kill these freaking Libs. And if only even 2 Liberators survive, units going through it, the DPS of Liberators is just mental. Well. Now sometimes Terran players just decide they either want to play a ghost style or they want to go ham on Lips. I feel like the Liberators were a tiny bit late for saying like I just want to go Marine, Marauder, Mine, Liberator, but we do have triple starport now, we do have advanced ballistics. And I don't think it's a bad choice because I still like how this game is going for Cure. Needs to be a tiny bit careful though. Needs to maybe stop attacking with only 2 Lips. Needs to get a few more. That Parabomb is gonna hurt. All the Medivacs are on top of each other. Now Corruptors are in the mix as well. And this was too early by Cure. I think Cure had the economy to max out, had the economy to build a terrifying army, but this was not a terrifying army. And now he can't morph this base into a planetary either. Ay ay ay. Ay ay ay. Can Cure eventually turn the tide of this battle? The Widowmine shot was not bad there, softens up a couple of the units. Way too eager there. He should have just been chilling for a little bit. And that's actually mega painful for Cure, because he does not have the dream economy where he's easily going to replace the army that he just lost. He's gonna completely evacuate this area, has abandoned the plan of let's get our hands on the rich Vespian geyser and just slowly leapfrog forward with the lips. He's gonna try to take the top right side. Reynor could burrow a Zergling to be annoying. I mean, near a planetary, I think Cure might be fine, even if planetaries are not as impactful in this matchup as they are when you're going up against Zealots and Stalkers. But Cure really needs some time. Right now, I don't think Cure is completely ready to deal with Reynor. Reynor really trying to make a statement here, by the way, making 4 Vipers early on at like minute 9. And 9 minutes later, guys, Reynor has lost a single Viper. We know he's a little sensitive when we see Zerg players fly Vipers headfirst into an army. And we call it the Reynor. He doesn't like it. Man is making a statement. 10 minutes of gaming against Cure. Plenty of activity. No dead Viper. Did eat a big Widowmine shot to the face, but... Is this a base of planetary yet? It is. A 30% done. Little run by. Ooh, could be big here, guys, because that's a bunch of goals. Medevacs are going to show up in time to save at least a couple of the goals, but these Lings are still going to be hard to deal with. And dealing with these Lings while also having to worry about the Lingbane Ultra Corruptor army with Vipers coming in from the bottom left. One of them took some damage, but does not die. This is just incredibly well done again by Reynor. And Cure is just having a hard time dealing with the run-bys. It is mostly the run-bys that have turned this game into what it is. Couple of EMP lands of repair. Cure, you need to repair. You cannot afford to lose this base. That's going to be close. The repair was a little bit late. And the Ultras get that planetary as well. So we prevent this base from becoming a planetary. And Reynor kills the important center base. Yeah. That's mega painful for Cure. Should have been instantly repairing this PF. Like, he started repairing it when it went down to 500-600 HP. If he starts repairing that immediately at the start of the battle, I don't think Reynor can stick around with that many Marauders just wailing away at those Ultras. Do we have a lot of Medevacs, guys? We only have 4. It's going to be hard to save the Ghost if Reynor is going to jump on this army. The Liberators will make it a bit harder. How many Corruptors are left? 7 Corruptors and still 4 Vipers. What a performance. Fungo coming in as well from the top. Couple of Fungos landing on the Ghosts and the Marauders. Here come the Vipers again. They're going to spam Parabombs. Seems like a Viper did die there. Maybe 2 of them. But Reynor is obviously going to be happy with this trade, knowing how much economic damage he dealt in the last 2 minutes. He's now just waiting for those 52 extra Zerglings to show up. There's like no Medevac left, guys. Well, 3 of them. But they're not in the battle. Reynor did end up losing the base in the bottom left, but actually managed to save a couple of the drones after burrowing them in the corner. He's now in danger of losing not just 1 but 2 bases. So Cure does kind of get something. Is he going to be able to get out of here? No, I really don't think that's possible. Liberator gets abducted. Corruptors are there to finish the job. This base is not a planetary but an orbital, so that's not really going to help Cure at all. Yes, Cure gets the bases, but we have to ask ourselves to cast the question. At what cost? At the cost of potentially losing this game, because with 58 army supply left, I think it's going to be a very tall order. And the economy is just no longer there. Reynor took a bit of an economic hit, but at least has a couple of very fresh bases to work with. Even this base hasn't really been running for all that long. Cure, main base, nothing. Natural, nothing. Third base, pretty much nothing. And this base is half a base. So Cure temporarily working with half a base. Hold that thought. We're back. We're outmining Reynor. But not for a very long time. This could be the final fight. Cure really wants to get this base. Cure knows that he needs to do something to severely slow Reynor down. But Cure's army, if it's exposed, I really don't think he can ever win a fight. The game is still a little bit laggy, but it does not seem like the players are lagging. So maybe it's just like Battle.net lag. Because we have a lobby with Asian players or Asian observers, European observers and American observers. Reynor sets up a run by. First Widowmine shot is good. Second one is very good too, but still a couple links left over. Cure knows that he needs to get his hands on another mineral line, because a single fresh mineral line, and even actually this is not even fresh. Wow, the mules just find out the base. That's not gonna be much. That's nice though for Cure. Got the kill earlier and gets another kill, so that's 300 extra minerals going down. It honestly looked like this game was very close to being over after Reynor found another good fight over here on the left side, and Cure being down to like 50 supply. Cure has made a couple of great plays here. Reynor obviously like re-establishing these bases in the bottom. That was a bit of an investment. Was a tiny bit out of position to save this one. Cure might be... I don't want to say okay. But Cure might not just be ultra dead yet. Trouble, sure, but... Marines, Marauders, and Ghosts. 5 Manavacs. It's just a bit sad for Cure that he is not able to maintain a decent Liberator count. I feel that would be a real game changer. One is just not enough. Reynor, 7 Corruptus. Got a burrowed infestor here. Is going to see this bio army marching towards the bottom left side of the map. Could land the fungo here. With the fungo, the units cannot hop into the medevac. Cure throws down a scan, sees some extra units showing up. Here is the fungo. Infestor does die, but a lot of the bio units will fall. It's mostly the Marauders that save. Or that get saved in the end. Yeah. So this base has a lot of resources left. This one has never been mined from. This one has barely been mined from. So there's still a lot of area to fight over. There's still a lot of resources to be mined. Ghost count is very high at this point, by the way. We got 15 freaking ghosts, guys. Infestor on burrows in the bottom top left side of our screen. Lends a little fungo. We got a couple of parabombs coming in as well. Here comes the Bane train. Widowmine shot doesn't do all that much. No planetary here, and I feel that these ghosts are just left for dead. Like nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Banelings keep on connecting. Reynor did lose a lot of units, but I want to say should be more than okay with this. Like we can use the infestor, a single fungo, and we could maybe end this game. So much lag. I'm sorry about this, guys. It's very annoying. 29 medevacs and 14 liberators have gone down. Find a few ghosts, get surrounded, and I really think that this will just do it. And Cure knows that this will do it as well. After 26 minutes of winter madness, it is Reynor who gets the 4-0. 4-0 in the upper bracket final. So Reynor guarantees himself a top 2 finish in this edition of the Kung Fu Cup. And he will play against either Cure or Hero or Classic. And so Reynor's got like a 2-0, a 3. Reynor's on a bit of a run here, no? Take a look at the entire bracket. I think we dropped 2 mappies. What did we drop in the end? Kung Fu Cup. Yeah, dropped 2 maps against Showtime. That was a 6 series, especially game 1 was very sick. 2-0, 3-2, 4-0. And Reynor guarantees himself a top 2 finish. And will play against either a Terran or a Protoss in that grand finals that will be played tomorrow, guys. So Reynor is done. He can just chill, have some fun over in Gangnam or wherever the hell he hangs out these days. And there is 1 series remaining for today. That is a best of 5. It's not that late yet. It's only 10 minutes past 2. So it is definitely my goal to hop into a couple of these games. And we'll watch a bit of PvP. I'll take a tiny break. Congrats to Reynor. Played incredibly well. Cure had good moments, but overall Reynor was just stronger throughout the series. A statement made by our boy.